You're listening to StoryStruck. I'm Rachel, a writer and editor.
And I'm Neno, an intuitive book coach and writer. Welcome to our curious community where we dive into everything books and writing. Let's get into the story.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the last episode of Season 2 of the StoryStruck podcast. We're so excited to be here for the wrap-up of Season 2. So we're going to chat about our favorite episodes and moments of Season 2. We're going to kind of see where our writing has been for recording this season. Then we're going to dive into some exciting things that are going to be coming Season 3. And spoiler alert, there's going to be a bit of a revamp around here. And we have a cute new logo as well to go along with the fun. And then we're going to wrap this up with some amazing things that Neno has coming up very, very soon that you are not going to want to miss out on.
All right. So, what was your favorite moment of Season 2?
So I think I just absolutely adore the romance episode we did.
I was
So
about to say,
two
I knew
favorites,
our
but-
moment was going to be the same one. It was going to be the last episode. It was going to be although I really liked our little dark, the dark
writing
episode
dark,
too.
yeah.
Writing dark. I really liked that one as well. But yeah, that spicy to not spicy girlies talking about spicy things, that one was so much fun.
I love that.
Yeah. And actually, we got such great feedback on that. And even episode request that was was requested from there. So it sounds like y'all liked it too, which is great because that's kind of our inspiration point to some evolution happening here at StoryStruck.
Yeah, that was a great aha episode. I think that was my favorite regular episode because I had another favorite thing. So I think that was my favorite regular episode because it was just so fun and fluid that we just got to chat about something that we had talked about at nauseum back and forth in voicemails to each other for a week. And I feel like that was kind of the core essence of wanting to start the podcast. And we'll chat more about that later.
Mhm.
But it was just the funnest episode, I think, that we've had together, at least for me. And it just was a blast getting to dive into all the little nuances of a topic. And I think the writing dark one was similar to that. But I feel like the romance one, the spicy levels, just took it up a notch from the dark one was okay, I'm liking this, but then that flow of that one was hell yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like we tapped into something. Why is my color weird? My
You
lighting
just got all
went
pink.
weird.
It's just that you're ready to talk
Yeah.
spicy episode. It's mood lighting.
I swear to God, my lighting hasn't changed in here. Just all of a sudden the camera just goes, let's adjust. But yeah, I think we really tapped into a lot of our mojo in that because this is, let's just be honest, those types of conversations, that's exactly how we talk about it, just you and I, which is what started our whole thing on hey, why don't we do a podcast and stuff? And then we kind of got into teacher mode,
Mm-hmm.
being oh, well, we're professionals, And even though we were still maybe sassier than, the average professional, or we cuss on the podcast and, things like that. Even though we weren't necessarily prim and proper, we were still being a little bit more prim and proper for us. And in those 2 episodes, I think that we really showed our whole authentic, opinionated self with it. And it felt good. It flowed and it just it felt like fully being true to us. And I cannot wait to do more episodes like that with you. I'm really excited.
Yeah. It was so fun. I didn't feel like I had to do homework or prep work or all these types of things before we hopped on the podcast. And that's just my Virgo neurospicy energy of wanting to have everything prepared. That one, I felt like I could just literally come on and just be myself and talk about it, and it made me so excited to do that episode, and so, like,
Mhm.
that's the energy I wanna, like, ride forward.
For sure. And we got a episode request from that from Lori. Did I say this already? I tell you, Mercury's in the microwave, so forgive my brain. But Lori, shout out to Lori. Thank you so much for sending us that request because we were both like, oh my God, we have to. So in season 3, we're going to have an episode on genre mashing. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited because like that's the whole way romantasy turned into a thing, right? It is like somebody just kind of played with them, put them together, stopped trying to like live in a box. And so I'm just like, yes,
Yes.
say more, you know?
Yeah.
I'm
That's
really
gonna be
excited about that.
such a fun episode. So if any of you have things that you want us to chat about, send us a message, storystruckpodcast@gmail.com because we would love to talk about what you want to hear about. That is
You
why
can
we're
also
here.
comment on the YouTube. You can
Mhm.
also message us personally on our respective Instagrams, or if you get my newsletter, you can respond to my newsletter like Lori did. So,
Lots and lots of ways. There's no excuse to not get us what you wanted us to talk about.
yeah.
Uh, so my other favorite was our story spiral. I had
Yes.
so much fun with the story spiral this year, and, like, it was just right, we almost got to do, like, a buddy read together where we were
Yeah.
reading that book, and then just the conversations that came up, I thought were so fun. Because, like, things that didn't bother you bothered me, and
Mhm.
then, like, you, like, loved these things, and I'm like, "Ah," like, so it was just kinda really cool to see different reader perspectives
Yeah.
on the same book, and then also get to talk about a book that I would have totally DNF'd if we were not doing an episode on it, and
Yeah.
that also led me to not to DNF another book that I read recently because I couldn't stand, like, the first couple chapters. And I was like, "All right, I'm going to, read this like a writer, gonna do a little bit of market research." And I ended up loving the book. I did end up DNFing the second book in it
Oh,
though.
no.
So yeah, this I was reading, was it The Rose Court? Let me look it up real quick. Because it was a crazy moment in book 2, and I'm like, this is how you don't
Right, I
do
remember you
things in a book.
telling me that of, like, it just completely shifted.
Yeah, it was totally bizarre. Where are you here?
Speaking of
Show me
completely
my book.
shifted, I think in one of the what is it, the dark episode or the spicy I don't know, one of the more recent episodes I talked about, I was listening to Spark of the Everflame, and I was loving it. That whole Kindred Curse Saga series, I was loving it, and then I finally got the 3rd book, and I just finished the 3rd book. That was a shift.
Yeah, yes.
I could do a whole story spiral just on that singular book alone by myself without you because I sent you how long was my voice note that I sent you
Oh,
about that
yeah, it
one?
was like, what, like 12 minutes or
It was like
something?
12 minutes long of me just ranting, spoiler free, which I am really proud of, by the way.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive, and you had also sent me a message sometime, like, a day or 2 before then about it too, so it was probably a good 20, 25 minutes between the
Mhm.
couple days all about that book, so I'm really interested to get to that point because I have the first book in it, and it is on my list to read. So, it was The Rose Bargain
Mm.
by Sasha Payton Smith. And so at first, when I was reading the book in the beginning, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I can do the POV because it was like first person present tense, which is not my favorite. Like, I like first person, but I prefer past tense versus the present tense, which is like, I am, running to the mailbox versus, I ran to the mailbox. Like, it's just kind of a weird thing. And I just was like, but I pushed through it and ended up loving the book. Then I was like, I must read book 2 because book 2 just came out and it was The Thorn Queen. Oh boy. So I feel like it should have had a trigger warning on it. It was totally bizarre. Like the main character, I won't give like spoilers for you people if you want to read it, but like the main character one of the love interest ones, is like so incredibly toxic, and you know it from like page one. Like, this is not a surprise. He's so incredibly disgustingly toxic and abusive, but they have one of the female main characters still loving and fawning over him and wanting his attention. And I'm like, all right, maybe this is just me because I came from like an emotionally abusive marriage. And I'm like, this is bad because, especially, this is like YA. Like, let's not make this a beautiful thing to like want to be with this person who you're like, oh, well, he did all these horrible things and he locked me up and he did this and he did that, but I still want to make him proud. And then I'm like, no, God, shut up. But then my breaking point was a scene where a baby animal was killed, and it
Oh
was
my
totally
god.
random. And it was like
Mm-mm.
very violent and it was out of nowhere and it served no purpose in the story. Like, it was just crazy. All right, I'm gonna spoil it. I'm gonna spoil it. So if you don't like this, you just fast forward like a couple minutes. So they are sent out on this quest, and she's like, all right, if I get the animal, he's going to free my friends from prison. And there's two sisters vying for the same guy. They're both married to the same guy, but in different worlds. Someone in fairy, one in the human world. They both married him. Now they're both in fairy. So he's like, well, I only need to keep one of you around. So whichever sister wins my competitions is the one I'm going to keep. Yeah. So
My gay, lesbian ass, feminist person. I'm already like, mm-mm.
yeah, so the one sister's like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna love him." The other sister's like, "I wanna kill this motherfucker." And I'm like, "Yes, we wanna get rid of him." So anyway, the evil king guy, like, captures one of the girl's best friends, and he has him locked in the dungeon, and he's like, "Alright, well, if you win this first challenge, I'll let them out of the dungeon." And she's like, "Oh my god, I gotta do this." So they're going out, and he's like, "You gotta track this animal down and kill it." Well, they end up finding a baby unicorn, and they have to kill the baby unicorn, and it is very
Of
graphic
all
and
the
very
animals
awful.
in this kingdom, like,
Yeah,
we chose a unicorn to murder?
and a baby.
I
A
don't think
baby.
I don't think y'all know. I have a giant unicorn poster right here. Literally right on my wall right here.
Yeah, yeah, so we have to do that. So the sister who lives in Fairy does it, and the other sister's horrified, and it's like, oh my god, traumatizing moment. And afterwards, she goes back, and even though the one from Human, isn't the one who killed the unicorn, he still lets her friends out of the dungeons. So there was no stakes for it. But I will let you know that the unicorn is still alive because of the way it was killed. It's immortal and it comes back to life. But you don't know that when it's happening. And it's just like this horribly graphic, like, oh my God, I still can't get out of my head.
I literally will yell at books and be like, "This
Yeah.
animal better be okay. I swear to God, I'm gonna send a letter if this animal's not okay." I get so
Yeah.
aggressive with it. I
Yeah.
can't.
It was
I
brutal.
can't.
And I'm sorry, I went off on this crazy tangent, but like, that's not stuff that you put in your book if it's not serving the purpose of your book. There were literally, like, it didn't even matter because it was alive. And then it didn't even matter because he still let the friends go. Like, it was bizarre. And like, it just everything like fell apart for me in that book. So I finally did DNF it. I stayed the course a little bit after that. And I was like, yeah, I can't anymore. But I'm glad that I stayed the course on the first book because I did end up enjoying it. And that was a way crazy off thing from our story spiral.
But I mean,
But,
you did that because we did the story spiral, because we had that whole like, well, we're doing this episode, so you gotta finish it. It taught you to
yeah.
kind of like push further a little bit more before you fully like give something like a little more of a chance than you would normally, which is good. It's a good lesson to learn,
Yes,
I
and
think.
to read
So
like a writer, right? Because I was like, even though I
yeah.
didn't like the book, I was able to read, our Story Spiral one, which was Legends and Lattes,
Hmm.
and kind of see what I liked, what I didn't like, and I used that as well for this two-book series, and was like, all right, I like the first person, but I know I don't like first person present tense. Okay, cool. She pulled it off. It went fine. But then knowing as well that if I'm writing within a certain genre, and we'll talk about this when we do genre mashups, like you do need to make sure that you're not crossing a line. And I felt like that book really kind of crossed some lines of things I was not expecting, especially based on the tone of the first book and everything that happened in the first book. This was like totally weird, off the rails. That moment did not fit this at all. And it just was very jarring. And it could have been something else in there. So for me as a writer, I'm like, all right, if my reader's going to feel like this, then I don't want them to just close my book up or throw it at the wall and be like, I'm done with it. So I will make sure that the things that I put in there kind of fit the tone and fit the story appropriately.
And fit the characters.
And the
That's what
characters,
kills
yes.
me. I have certain character things because, like, the way I see certain things, right? Because of how we as readers use story, we put ourselves in the position of characters and stuff like that. And that's why we feel their decisions and words and actions and stuff so deeply. Like when a character does something that is outside the way they would normally, like the way the person that you know them to be based on the previous book or whatever, and then they do something so left field, you're like, "What? That doesn't make any sense." It's very frustrating. Even if there's a payoff, it's still very, very frustrating, and it's like, if you're gonna do that, there better be a good payoff. Like, that better be
Yes.
fully necessary. You know? There better be information the reader doesn't have that when they get that context, they're like, "Oh, that makes so much sense." You know what I mean? But also know that, like, when you're doing those, like, those things that are outside a character's norm that don't make sense in their character psychology,
Mhm.
that's also an episode we should do, by the way. Just, like,
Yeah.
talk about character psychology. Honestly, that could be, like, a whole freaking series. Like, the psychology of the heroine or the psychology of the hero or, like, anyways, sorry, I digress. Okay, although that it may
Back on
be a
track.
little yeah, coming
I'm
back,
sorry. That was my fault because I got us way off in left field there.
you know what? It's chaos. So, yeah, I can't handle when that happens. When it's and also, you know this from 2 at least 2 books that I've ranted to you about. I can't handle when I'm smarter than the main character.
Yeah.
I can't handle when I have figured something out and the main character's like, golly jeepers, why is this happening? And I'm like, bitch, what the fuck? Like, did you not see that? Like, have you not learned anything? I cannot handle it. And the reason why I'm yelling at you all right now about it is because I recently just experienced it and the wound is still fresh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had that recently as well, a book club at work, and I didn't end up reading the whole book because I was like, "This book is so stupid." I read, like, several chapters, and then I just went and I just read a summary of the book 'cause and, like, watched someone's review of it because 'cause I'm like, "I can't even waste my time." Because like, I knew, like, within the first 2 chapters, the thing, and when I got into book club, everybody was like, "I was so surprised by this," and I'm like, "How?" How are you surprised? I knew that before chapter 2 was over, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, I don't even know. I don't even know.
Yeah. And it's
Ugh.
hard because like when you are a writer and you understand story and like obviously this is our whole life, you know? But I don't want to get to the point where I can't enjoy stories because I can
Yeah.
predict the ending.
Yeah, and I
You know?
don't mind, like, if I kind of know, like and then it's fun with the discovery process, right? Because sometimes we do
Mhm.
have, a book where in the prologue, we already know what's happening. Oh my, I'm sorry. Someone wants to say hi. So you guys have always seen Loki. This is Newt Man, and he's like little mini me. He doesn't like to be held, but he's like standing next to me, and he's like going like this on my.
Oh.
He's like, "Mommy, love me." So that's little Newt Man. He's teeny tiny, and he's like half the size of Loki. Anyway, sorry, kitty cameos. So, like, there'll be books where in a prologue, you may know that something happened, and then the fun part of reading the story is seeing how did that happen? Like, how did we get
Right.
there? But I think that's different from you totally realizing something and, like, the main character seeming like a total idiot
Yeah.
because they cannot recognize what's right in front of their freaking face, like slapping them in the face that that's real and that's happening and that or
Yeah.
whatever.
And I think that that's the difference too. You have those stories where you're just like, well, I am neurodivergent, therefore I'm great at pattern recognition. I also study story for a living and discuss story and write story for a living. So I can see story patterns, and so like I know that this character is on this journey and they're probably going to end up here, you know? And there's that. And then you have the other side where it's just like, this bitch is an idiot. Like, how are you this stupid? Why are you the main character when you are so dumb? How are you even still alive in your world when you are your survival instincts are this poor? Like,
Exactly.
like when you just want to punch the character's teeth in
Yes.
because of the
Yeah.
decisions they're making with the context that they have. It's just like, what are you talking about? What are you doing?
Mhm.
So, yeah,
My
I have
goodness.
I have big feelings. I'm very invested in fictional characters apparently. Although, okay, so speaking of, okay, a book that this is just a random aside just because I need to talk about it, which is just basically what our podcast is turning into, us needing to talk about things and just recording it. You have those stories where you know where it's ending and stuff like that something along this line is going to be where it's going to land, and you're in it for the character's journey because you can see how they don't get that. You get
Yeah.
it. You understand why they're not registering that information, and you're like, "Well, I know that it's going to be something like this at least in the end." And so like the first book that came to mind when I thought of that was The Book Witch by Meg Schaefer. And I know this was one of the ones that I sent you, that I was literally almost in tears about how much I was loving this book. And it also, like, even though I knew where it was going to land pretty early on, I also was so unbelievably surprised in the shift it took, like, 3/4 of the way through. I was so just like, and then also that whole piece of that was just like, I literally full body chills when I was in the surprising section of the book and stuff. Like, it just like everything Meg Schaefer does, it was so freaking good. And that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes, like, you know where it's going, especially, like, with cozies and
Yeah.
stuff, like, you know where they're going, but sometimes it's just the way it's done. It's just
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. And that's like the rose bargain. That's how I kind of felt towards the end, right? Because like, that it's like this romance story, this and that, and, that she's like pining for, this one, but she has to marry this one. And so, like, you knew the way it was going, and the twist at the end was like a holy crap moment. It was really good. And then I also just read One Dark Window. Cannot, like, oh my goodness. I love that book. Like, I gave that book a 5 out of 5. I loved it.
Yeah, that was a
And
really good
same
one.
thing, like, the twist, like, 'cause like, right, there's we know how stories flow, and that's why we like stories because it is
Mhm. But then the
predictable.
where that
But
one
the
landed
way
was
they do I was like,
unpredictable.
"What?"
Did
I'm like,
not expect that ending.
"No, I did not either," and I'm like, "Okay." Instantly, I am getting book 2 because I need to know, like, oh my goodness,
Yeah,
it was wild. So, yeah, if you're looking for a good book, I cannot recommend When Dark Window enough. If you
yeah,
like kind of like dark fantasy type stuff, very, very mild romance kind of subplot in there. So it's kind of a romantasy, but not really more of a romantic fantasy. If you listened to our Spice video, you will know what that means. If not, wink, wink, go check it out. So you will.
yeah, yeah. But getting back on track, we've gone on
Yeah.
our whole own, like, miniature story spiral right there. Speaking of story spirals, we're going to start doing them more regularly in season 3 because we really, really enjoyed doing that. I am currently finishing up the book that we are going to be doing for. Do we want to announce what we're doing? in case they
Yeah, go
wanna
ahead
read
and
it and
announce it
listen
and
along? Okay.
remind me. Remind me which one it is. Yeah.
The
Yeah, for those
first
of you
story
new, I have a memory issue and I forget things really, really bad. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think I know which one it is, but remind me which one we picked.
So the one that we picked was the heroine's journey. So we're gonna do a story spiral on a nonfiction. Excuse me. And so I'm finishing that up now, and we'll probably do it pretty early on in season 3. To try and kind of get a bit of a rhythm going with our story spirals. So, if you have any particular story, if you want us to even do, because this is something we were playing with, and we really, really, really like some feedback from y'all on it, is if you want to do some sort of story spiral book club where we have like a monthly book club, and then we can read the book and get your input in it and bring that into the episode along with our opinions of it and stuff. Please let us know, put it in the comments, send us a message, do whatever. Because if we have enough interest, we will do a like free Patreon book club type of deal for, to see what people think of it and stuff and get some extra additional input. Because, like we showed in the first story spiral we did on Legends and Lattes, like the way people experience it can be very, very different. And together we can grow and learn as writers. So,
Yes, and that's why this coming season and season 3, our story spirals, we're going to tackle a kind of a variety of things because we really like our fantasy books. And so we're going to also break out of our comfort zone. So we're going to do some that are writing craft books, like The Heroine's Journey. But we also want to do other genres that are maybe outside of our comfort zone. So maybe we'll do like a sci-fi, maybe a literary fiction novel. We kind of want to get a
although I don't
variety.
know if I
That
can
we do.
handle horror, y'all. I'm a big chicken.
So I have a gothic horror that I think you might enjoy.
See, if it's
It's
dark and
sapphic.
s if it's dark and spooky, I think I can do that. If it's like Stephen King, I don't know if I can handle
No,
that.
I think you'll like this one, and it's a shorter book too.
Okay.
And so yeah, I think that you'll like that. It was Brave
You just sounded like such a zombie right there.
House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson.
Ooh, you know what's another one I've heard so many things about and I've wanted to check out, but I've been scared a little bit, is Our Hideous Progeny or something like that. Or it's something like relating to like Frankenstein's monster, I think, but then also sapphic, but I have to look it up. I saw it on a gay book list and so I gotta look it up, but I remember it was like a Halloween kind of thing. But anyways, I'm up for more queer stories personally because I have been listening to some straight romantasy lately, and because my friends love that, and so they're like, "Oh, and you should listen to this one." And I'm like, "Okay," and then I listen to it, and I'm just like, "There's so much man in this," and so I'm so ready for something a little sapphic, honestly. But also, this heroine's journey book is so good.
Yeah.
It is giving because spoiler alert, I'm doing a course. I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast or anything, but I'm in the midst of creating a course called Fantastical Foundations, and it is like literally building all of the entire foundations of your world, but a little bit more in that emotional, psychological, like, let's look at them as people and let's look at this world like we look at our world kind of lens, and less of like, here are our plot devices and things like that. And so I'm looking at different structures that we can then use as inspiration to interject our world into the plot instead of building our world around the plot and stuff. And so this heroine's journey book has been really great inspiration. Some of the things she said in it made me even question on whether I even wanted to include the hero's journey in my
Ooh.
plotting. So I'm really excited. I am including the hero's journey because it is, a basic structure that we can all use and stuff like that. However, with this additional knowledge on her personal perspective on the heroine's journey, it's giving me some pause on how I'm going to present it in a way that, because, I'm all about impact, right? That's my literal entire branding, is how can we use books to change the world? And so if we follow the hero's journey like it's normally laid out, yes, we can create an impact, but it's not quite as big of an impact. Newt agrees with me.
He does. Oh my god, that was so cute. He's like,
Yes. Newt's all about that impact. So,
but yeah, and I don't know if you've gotten to this part yet, but she does talk about within some series. So in that book, she talks about book series, but also movies and things like that. Like she
yeah.
kind of taps into a variety of genres.
Mhm.
And she talks about how even within like some series, you have a combination where like a couple of books or movies in the series were a heroine's journey, and then there was a hero's journey one, and then a heroine's journey. And so it was kind of cool to see that it might match a different part in that character's growth or story, where like maybe something in the middle is more like their individual heroes kind of thing versus a
Yeah.
heroine's one.
Yeah, I'm really invested in it. I'm really loving it. So, I'm excited about that. If you guys have any other particular story spirals that you want, or like, "Oh, you have to do this one," let us know, cuz especially if it's outside fantasy, because we got fantasy and writing craft books, we've got like in spades. But when it comes to things like mysteries, I do have a sci-fi that I have on my TBR that I'm looking at right now, which is why I'm looking over. And so, which I got in a blind date with a book, and I wanna do more sci-fi. Also, if anyone is interested, I have a Dungeon Crawler Carl shirt on, and if you're not looking on YouTube, you need to see it because I'm
Oh yeah,
excited
it's
about it.
awesome. And it matches your microphone, which is really
I
cool.
know, it's so perfect.
It goes with
And
everything.
and I think that we should do a story spiral on Dungeon Crawler Carl, because
Yes,
it's just, especially for, like, comedic, it's so fucking funny, like,
I
talking
agree.
about the comedy of it all. So, anyways,
All right, that
and
is
it's
going on
also,
Story Spiral for season 3 because I
yeah,
have it and I need to read it, and I'm so excited.
yeah, so comment thoughts, please, down below, and message and do all the things. Otherwise, we're gonna talk about our writing journeys a little bit on
Mm,
this. So, how's your book going? How are things with that?
yes. So, with my book, I know it's been a roller coaster ride of this past year of like, oh, it's a cozy fantasy. No, it's really not. It's like super dark. And then it's like, all right, well, maybe it's not crazy dark, but it is dark. And maybe it's a romantasy and maybe it's not. And so, like, I've been playing around back and forth with stuff. I did an awesome writing workshop recently, and that kind of really helped me get a lot of light bulb moments of where my book was falling and what it was, and to kind of hold a little bit looser to it, and I just had some incredible moments, totally revamped where, like, this initial nugget of an idea was, and, like, this initial thing of this, like, sacrifice, 100-year disappearance, all of that is, like, not even part of the book anymore, like, it's just, like, totally wild where it went and how I got here, and it's just so fun to be on that journey as a writer and get to see your story idea evolve. But I think that's also important for us to remember, right? As writers, it's just because we have an initial idea doesn't mean that has to be the idea.
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean that that's wrong if that idea changes. Like, that's totally cool. And that is what going from a situation instead of a story, and I'm stealing this from DDW, Daniel Wallace. I was listening to him talk about this, and I thought it was so cool where he's like, all right, like this idea is really cool, but it's more of a situation than a story. And that's kind of what it was for that initial idea. It's like, ooh, this would be a cool thing, but that thing isn't the story. And so that was just kind of that jumping off point to forming my idea. So I have done a crap ton of world building, like did deep dives, but set like groundwork as I was working through that course
Mhm.
with the editor and be like, all right, I can only spend a week on this. I can only spend a week on this. And I ended up plotting out my whole book, which was really cool. So I have the initial
And
plot of the
how
revamped
many
book.
pages is that?
And this is not my finished outline. This was my brain dump outline, and I was doing a hybrid version of, Save the Cat and, like, a three-act structure, like, I kind of did this hybrid thing of it, and I ended up doing, like, 20-something pages of my light, quote, unquote, "light outline," and I still need to go back in and flesh it out more, so I'm definitely, like, heavy into the outline, but that helps my brain because once I have all of that, then when I get to the writing, I know where things are going. But I'm also now not going to hold super tight because I've learned over this past year the value of having that creative freedom. So, like, this is where I think the story is going. But if I hit a point where I'm like, whoa, that is the coolest idea that this character just did this thing, then I'm going to be okay with going with that.
Yeah,
And,
finding
you
that
know, and
balance of intuition and structure.
yeah. So yeah, I have an obscene number of pages of all of my material of like my, story building, the government, the magic system. Oh my God, the magic system was like this crazy deep dive of figuring out how much magic I wanted in my book. And that's why I've been reading some comp titles, like One Dark Window and Spark of the Everflame, and kind of seeing like how they do the magic versus how a system that's a little bit heavier in a magic system, like Brandon Sanderson's, like, his are very, like, intense, deep, like, you need a PhD in magic to, like, develop this magic system, kind of a crazy thing, where these other ones, the magic is there, but it's not explained all the way, and not everybody has, magic. Also, like, Wheel of Time, in, like, book 10 or 11 of Wheel of Time. Oh my god, those books, I have to say, they're kinda boring, but I'm, like, so invested, and I read it before I go to bed. That's, like, my
Wow.
nighttime reading, so maybe it just helps my brain calm down,
Mhm.
Because otherwise I don't think I would have stuck through them all. Because 'cause they're very, 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 very slow, but it's my
It's so
mental chill now.
interesting when you read certain books from certain time periods in
Yes.
in writing of, like, how, like I don't think Lord of the Rings would have made it if it was published today.
No, and
I don't
same
think
with
it would
these
have done
books.
well.
People wouldn't have the attention span, I don't think, for it.
Mhm.
Reading Dune is also on my list, to do.
Dune is another one that I think was probably
Mhm.
considering how slow the movies were, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because I know there are some ride or dies, but yeah, I can imagine that the stories would be a little slow as
Yeah,
well.
it's a little
A lot
slow, a
of
little
talking about sand.
repetitive, but it's my brain chill down moment, so I'm like, "Alright, my
Yeah.
my brain is liking this just kinda like, you know what? If you, like, nod off in the middle of this paragraph, you're not really missing anything because it's probably been said 5 times before."
Yeah.
It's
But I mean, they're good at drawing information out
it is. I'm
for
thoroughly
sure.
enjoying them, thoroughly
Good.
enjoying them. But yeah, so that's kind of where I am, so I'm looking forward to actually putting words on page now,
Yeah.
and I ordered something cool. And I'm excited to test it out. So, I know I've talked about my free write before, and while I enjoy my free write, I've been having issues with it, and it keeps going into this firmware update mode. And so now I'm terrified to use it because I'm like, am I going to do all of this writing and I'm going to lose it? Because like the only way you can like get your writing off of it is to like send it like Wi-Fi over a thing. And I'm like, if I bring that to work and I'm writing and then it gets like firmware update and I'm like,
No.
3,000 words in and I'm like, mother, I don't want that to happen. So I'm not sure how much longer the free write will live in my repertoire, but I found something else cool, and it's something that I think they just did a Kickstarter for within the past couple years or past year. So mine is going to be arriving shortly, and it's called BYOK Bring Your Own Keyboard. And it's like this little screen, like you can, if you're listening, you can't see me making my hands, little screen. It's probably like the size of like my iPhone Max, and it's an e-ink screen, and it has a file system in it and Wi-Fi in it, and you can connect any keyboard to it, and you can use that as an e-ink device to type on. And it's just kinda cool, but the part I really like about it is that you can put a micro USB card in it, so your documents are literally saved to that card. So I have a card for backup, but I can also send it over Wi-Fi to my computer. So I have those 2 redundancy backups of
Yes.
stuff.
Yes. With my
And
books, I literally
yeah.
just, like, saved it to because I did it on Google Docs, and I just saved it to my computer every now and then. I'm
Mhm.
like, "Just in case Google crashes, let me just download this PDF real fast," and I have, like, 4 versions of my books.
Yes. And the price, let me tell you, let me pull it up because the price, oh my goodness, was so much better than come here, I want that. The price, $199
Oh, that's really
versus,
good.
like, 500
500.
for, like,
Yeah.
the Free Write Traveler. And I would definitely I
And you have
wouldn't
your own keyboard, so if you like a certain type, or like
yes,
I know there's some people who are like, "Oh no, I need it buttery," or "I need it, like I want it like a typewriter," or whatever. Like if you have a keyboard that you just really, really enjoy, like that is also kind of a benefit there too.
exactly. So, like, if I'm working at it at home, like, I could have, like, my regular keyboard I love, but if I and I at work, I love my Logitech Wave keyboard so much that I bought a second one that I have at work, and it can connect to, like, 3 different computers. So I can connect my one at work wirelessly to my thing, and then I can connect this one here, or I can get a little folding keyboard and travel wherever I wanna do. Not that I literally go anywhere, but I could go sit in the woods up in the woods
Yeah.
in a chair here and just bring a little folding keyboard and, like, type up if I want to. But, yeah, it's really cool. I love the super amazing backups. 'Cause, yeah, I can't do that on my free write. My free write goes down, I've lost all my words on it if it hasn't sent it anywhere. So that's no
Yeah,
good.
that's a
So
rough.
and then, I will give one last word on free write. So the cheapest free write is the free write alpha, which is $3.49, and I would say I probably would not recommend that one to anyone from horror stories I have heard from many, many, many people of that same kind of thing of their work just disappearing.
The risk of the work disappearing just
Yeah, it
that that
makes
that
me
would
nervous.
sell me not, just like that system in general then would just sell me on not, just because, like, that idea of putting in all those hours, all that creative time, and it just goes, "Boop, nope." Which is why
Yep,
I always just do it on a Google Doc because I can do a Google Doc on my tablet, I could do a Google Doc on my computer, I could do it on my freaking phone. I've literally written chapters from my phone in my car. And so I'm just like, "You know what? I'm just gonna do it on a Google Doc and it's fine."
I love that. Yes, like, I'm a big Scrivener fan, so I think I'm probably gonna do my drafting, Imma test out in this BYOK, bring your own keyboard, and then put it into Scrivener. I think I'm also gonna try some dictation. So I think I'm gonna do a combination of those because, like, my eyes need a break from the
Mhm,
screen, especially, like, when I'm done with the workday, like, it gets a little much and makes my brain tired and my head hurt. So I'm excited to kinda try this out and kind of have that disconnected mode and also with neurospicy, loving like certain habits for certain things that I know when I'm sitting down with that or I'm sitting with my dictation that that's drafting mode and my brain just instantly gets into that routine where when I'm at the computer that is revision and all of those types of
mhm.
things. So gets my brain into a rhythm. And then I will also have to report back on the BYOK device. They have kind of their own Scrivener style thing called Studio, which your
Mm,
stuff can also go into. So I'm gonna have to kind of play around and maybe do a little review chat for us in season 3
yeah.
about how it's going with testing out these different devices.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Cause again, I haven't even done Scrivener. I've told clients about Scrivener. I'm like, "Yeah, if you wanna try that," cause like, I have some clients who try AutoCrit, and it just, like, doesn't flow as intuitively for them, and they get really frustrated with it and stuff. I'm like, "If that's interrupting your creative process, like, try this one instead."
Yeah.
give that one a shot. It's a similar type of system that, it had that I've heard good things. So, yeah.
Yeah, and
Actually, I
script
did
writing.
dictation for part of my book.
Mhm.
And so I finished writing another novel over the last what did it when did I start it? March?
Yeah, yeah, because that's when we started our 90-day novel
Yeah,
venture,
we
which
were
I don't know if
starting.
we really talked about in the podcast, but that was kind of a flop. So maybe that's something we'll
No,
chat
worked
about
great
in
for me.
season 3. It went great for you, not so much for me and the other person that was in there with us.
Yeah.
It
It's
was a
not for
learning
everyone.
moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally thrive in challenge and competition. So,
Yes, you were like, "Girl, let's do this," and I'm like, "I can't
yeah.
make it stop."
Yeah, so I think it's the ADHD. I just need a little bit of a deadline, and then it's just like my brain goes, "Dopamine? Okay, here you go."
Yes,
Then I
I think
go.
for me too, it just didn't hit good with the timing of stuff that was going on with my personal life, that
Yeah.
it was chaos. I feel like if I started that kind of now where
Mhm.
I have the structure and everything, I feel like it would go much
Yeah.
smoother.
That and on top of you having your plot set up, I think that you would do a much better way once now that you have all of your fantastical foundations.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what it was in March, we started sometime in March, we started our 90-day challenge to write our novel in 90 day. What we stuck to the prompts that we were using for about 2 weeks and then jumped off because they were very man focused and hero focused and masculine focused and our all of our things are women. Like the three of us who were doing it, all of our books revolve around women. So it was not even positioned in a gender neutral way. It was very much positioned in a man way.
Yeah, when I was
And
reading the
very much
prompts, I
revolving
kept
around.
changing it up because 'cause I'm like, "I can't read you guys, like, all this he stuff," and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, like, can we, like, get a variety pack?" Like, yeah.
Right, right. Or literally just say MC.
Yeah,
Like you
exactly.
can just use the shorthand of main character or whatever, or your protagonist, or
Mm,
there's a lot of other options that we could do to make it gender neutral and focused on character and not on the gender or whatever. And it was very focused on the hero's journey and stuff. And none of us were writing a hero's journey type of book as well. So I think that was, why we jumped off that 90-day train, but I still wanted to complete my book in 90 days. And
and you
so
did. Oh my god, it
I
was so
did
exciting.
technically in 106 because I
Oh
had like a whole
my
week
goodness.
where my brain was just like, it was like a week or 2 weeks during that time that I was just like not able to function. And so technically it was 106 days that I finished the
Wow,
novel.
you're
But
such a slacker. Oh my goodness.
I was really, really, really happy about it. I went in and I was like, because this is not part of the Loki series for anyone who doesn't know. This is just a standalone cozy fantasy that I wrote. It's called Guardian of the Gate. And it's basically a workaholic 35-year-old woman who lives in New York who ends up in Fairy and the whimsical journey that ensues. And I started this one with an outline because I'm like, I'm gonna try plotting. Like I'm gonna actually give I'm because like I took with my Loki book, I took a premise and some mythology and I wrote 98,000 word book out of it. And then in my editing journey, I'm like, we have a lot more editing to do than we thought we did, And so I'm like, I'm gonna try a little light plotting. And I did like a 3-act plotting. And about halfway through, the book took a turn. I stopped looking at the plot and I just kept going. And so it just, you know what? It was great to start some groundwork on it, but it's still my entire act 3 is completely different than what I originally plotted for it. And I didn't realize that until I went back after I finished it to look at how well did I follow my plot, because I realized I forgot to look at it. And then I realized I didn't really follow it a whole ton. So,
I
but you
felt like
know
it
what?
was
That's
really
where the book wanted to
cohesive
go.
though. Like I felt like this I feel like you have less edits for the story for this one than with
Yeah.
the Loki one.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Because I've already started editing and stuff. And I'm just like, I'm doing so many minor things. So many like I mean not so many minor things. Actually I am because I'm line editing at the same time because my brain will not let me just do a developmental edit and then a line edit. It's just like, "No, but we have to fix this sentence." So, I'm doing a little bit of a both, which is probably making Rachel cringe right now. But that is what is
It's
happening.
okay. Well, your
And
words are so
it's
beautiful to begin with, like, whenever you read me something and I'm like, "Wait, you mean you haven't, like, re-edited that, like, 10 times? Because it sounds beautiful."
thank you, because sometimes I just feel like it's clunky and stuff. So, yeah, so I am currently editing that one, and it is a linear storyline. It is just like a little adventure and stuff. It's cozy, so even the stakes are not like super high and stuff. And it's just like, how can I add more whimsy into this? How can I add more beauty into this? How can I add more fun into it? And that's basically what we're doing, you know? And I am like, okay, so me sitting here thinking that I chose great, but with my Loki book to have my first novel be a book revolving around mythology, because then we have a story that's already built. We just have to build our story around it. No, no. In fact, spoiler update, I am getting recently, as we do whenever we take a break from our books and stuff, like we'll just like randomly get downloads like, this is what I need to do with this story. This is what it's going, where it's going. Oh, this, because I wrote the entire book before I even researched the mythology fully. I took Pantser to the max, let me tell you. But I'm thinking that I might need to rewrite it because during my channeling of the story, I have realized that Loki wants to be written as non-binary and not fully gender fluid. Because right now, Loki's written gender fluid in the book, but there needs to be more of a non-binary story in that. And that have that be part of their journey of self-discovery. So I can't just go in and change every I'm like, I might as well just rewrite the whole thing. I don't know. So I'm stewing on that. I'm trying to decide like, okay, is this too much editing that it might be better off to just like reimagine some of the things, especially now.
Mm,
I started writing the book not even thinking it was 2 books, and now by the end of the book I'm like, "Oh, this is 3 books."
yep.
And so now there's stuff that's going to be happening that needs to lead up to. And so during my editing, I was adding chapters to it. I'm like, I need to set the framework for what's happening in book 3, so I need to add some chapters and stuff that will then later on be these like flashback moments to be like, "Oh, that's what actually happened here," and things like that. So I'm like, how much actual rewriting do I need to do, and going about it that way. So that's kind of the journey there for that. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm really annoyed that this story is taking so long, especially because I wrote the story, I drafted that Loki book in 5 months.
Yeah.
And the editing has just been like this crazy, crazy drawn out process. But Guardian of the Gate is going really, really, really smooth. So I am planning on querying literary agents by the fall. And hopefully I'll have information for y'all on when that book is picked up. So you can buy it and read it and be all cozy and whimsical with me.
I'm so excited for that book. I love getting to, like, hear the story as it's being developed. I feel like I get, like, these extra little previews of it. I'm so excited. So speaking of the fall and being excited for new ventures, as you've kind of seen, we've had a lot of fun just kind of chatting. And like when we were talking about the like romance episode, the spice episode, and the story spirals, kind of those things being our favorite. That is the direction that we're going to be going in season 3. Because we had thought this season we wanted to have on more guests as well, because we had quite a few guests in season 1. But we just had so much fun with the two of us that, like, that's gonna be the main thing is the two of us. If we have an occasional guest, that's awesome. But the focus is just kind of us and kind of this more fun conversational tone like you had in the romance episode. And, like, that just is just kind of the fun vibe of us getting to talk about story, our ideas, our thoughts, our feelings, all of those types of things, and get to share it with you and just have it be very authentic, not teachery, MFA, like kind of prep of we're, hitting all of these marks and teaching all of these things. Like, we're still going to learn, we're still going to have fun, we're still going to do things, but in this more chill vibe that is just naturally us and kind of like the conversations that we have back and forth with each other off the podcast, because that is just where the magic happens. And so we want to bring that authentic, magical part of ourselves to you versus us feeling like we're trying to fit into a mold of podcast mode.
Yes.
Does that about
Yeah.
sound right?
Yeah. It's bringing in, again, more fun, more whimsy,
Mhm.
more of our personality and stuff into the podcast, and kind of learning along with you and growing along with you, and trying to add any nuggets of wisdom that we have to the conversation, so you have things to grow off of as well, instead of it being so stuffy.
Exactly.
I think if we find when we find people that we really just enjoy having conversations with, like I already invited DDW to come back when I talked to him for the
He's so
summit,
delightful. I love Didi.
and I just adore him. He is just a delightful human and just gives me more faith in British men. Listen, I have history, okay? I'm not just being biased. I just adore him. I'm just like, British men can be nice and sweet.
Well, and
Anyways,
speaking of DDW,
yeah.
and that's our nickname we give to him. I don't know
Yeah,
if he
because
uses it at all,
we
but that's
flip
what
his
we always say.
I realize we probably should have prefaced that. We call him DDW because when we first started connecting with him, we couldn't remember whether it was Daniel or David that was first. And so it's like Daniel David Wallace, David Daniel Wallace. Which way does. So we just started saying DDW. So Daniel David Wallace.
Yes, is having a summit. Is it this coming weekend?
Yes, it is this weekend. It is the 18th through the 21st. I have to look at a calendar. I don't know. Yeah. 18th to the 21st is the Develop Your Premise Summit. It is really, really cool because he's doing something totally different than he's ever done before with it, where he's taking a premise and we're kind of like going in on how do you take something that is just like a little snippet of an idea and turn it into a whole story. And so I, of course, am joining in where I am talking about how do we create a book of impact using just a premise. And in our conversation, it's like we cover so many things. And let me tell you, there are some amazing speakers. Other than yours truly, Lisa frickin' Cron is on it. And if you don't know Lisa Cron, she is a author. She is the author of Story or Die and Wired for Story. And these books are so pivotal. Like, they are so powerful. I have literally recommended Story or Die to marketing executives, to just marketing people, to writers, to like everyone, because it's so impactful. I tell people this book isn't directly about marketing, but it's the best marketing book I've ever read. She is so brilliant. She is so amazing. I am fangirling hard. I don't know if you can notice if you notice that, but I'm fangirling hard that I'm speaking alongside Lisa freaking Cron. So she's going to be there. Obviously, our dear beloved Daniel David Wallace is going to be doing his own master classes in there. And there's going to be so many amazing connections with so many other authors and different creatives. There is a massive lineup and it's free. It is free to join this summit. Of course, if you want replays, if you want special bonus things, there is a paid offer, but it's free to just if you just want to go and see me and Lisa Cron, because I would love you to come and see my chat. But if you just want to see me and Lisa Cron, you can just sign up for free and watch the people live that you want to see and just get all of that wisdom for free. I love that he does this because I feel like there's so much that has such significant paywalls. Like we're in like a paywall society and he literally makes the information as accessible as possible. And I just absolutely love that because there's just so much that's at a paywall. And like so you can absolutely enjoy this entire 4-day summit for free unless you want replays and bonuses. There's also I have a giveaway in there. So the episode that we did, the on writer's birth charts, if you want to watch that, I'm giving one of those away. So I'm
Ooh.
giving a whole it's called Written in the Stars, the writer's birth chart offering, which is like an in-depth birth chart in association with your writing journey, right? It's honing into the aspects in your birth chart that affect your writing life and what keys and supports and challenges you might experience that you can grow from so that way you can write your books with greater ease. So I'm giving one of those away for free. I also have a free mini course on writing high vibe fiction or impact driven fiction. I call it both ways, but that is part of the summit as well. So there's so much in this summit, and I'm just really, really excited about it because I got to be a bonus episode. Guys, I'm a bonus episode in this. So for anyone who purchases a ticket who gets all the bonuses, they have like specific bonuses that are exclusive for people who have the paid ticket, and I got to be one, and I'm really excited about it.
Ooh, you're a bonus-ode. I love it. And I tell you what, that writer's chart is like the coolest thing ever. We will link that episode down below. Definitely check it out. And you would be so lucky if you win that because that's not even something you can buy right now, is it? Like
No, it
it's
is. You
oh, it
can
is
buy
now?
it.
Oh,
I
that's
do
right.
have
You
it.
do have
Yeah, yeah.
okay. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
did officially like start
you did launch
selling it
it.
on on my
Cool.
website.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, watch the episode
However, it's
and
$300, so
I tell you what,
like
it is worth like $1,000. Like it is the coolest
yeah.
thing ever. And if you watch the episode, you get to see Neno do mine. And it was so much freaking fun. I got so much out of it. So go
Yeah,
get
and
that service.
I've done a few more since then and have really polished up the method of it as well. So I'm like I'm pretty freaking proud of them. I'm the
That's
only person
awesome.
that I know who does that specific thing. So, yeah. Link to our writer's birth chart episode will be linked down below from season 2. And also, I will have a link to the Develop Your Premise Summit that is happening from the July 18th to July 21st. My talk is on the 21st, but there is a bunch of amazing, amazing talks building up to that. And so all of that will be linked below. Please go check it out. Bare minimum, sign up for free and get some amazing free insights. But if you get the paid thing, it's just good for everyone, Like there's so much good stuff.
Yeah, I am always shocked by the like how incredible the summits are that he puts
Mhm.
on. Every single one I have like up leveled my writing and like everything. So go check it out and stay tuned for when we return with season 3, kind of late
Our
in the
current
summer.
plan is August at
Yeah, I
some
think
point,
August. Yeah, kind
right?
of late
We're
summer.
taking a little
Yeah.
summer break to work on a few other things and develop some other things, and then we'll come back around probably uh I don't know, give us a good month or so.
Yeah, yeah. So kind of yeah, looking kind of like that mid-August, late August, kind of
Yeah.
that time span. So, yeah, and please, if you have not already and you enjoy the podcast, hit that like and subscribe button if you're on YouTube and if you're listening to us on a podcast app, go and shoot us a awesome review. You can do a star review and if you want to be even cooler, you can actually write something about us and how much you're loving the fun, the whimsy, the magic that we have here at StoryStruck.
Also, if you're watching on YouTube, there's this cool new thing called a hype. And you can click the hype and you give like hype points to small platforms. And apparently, I don't really know, but this is what I'm told. helps small platforms like us grow and reach more people and, share the love and stuff. So if you see that button, click that button. I don't really know how to find it, but it's there somewhere.
Sounds fabulous. We will see everybody in August. Have fun, enjoy your summer, and get some writing done.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, comment, do all the things because your support means everything for our little podcast. If you have an episode suggestion, please email us at storystruckpodcast@gmail.com and let us know what you'd like to hear next. You can also follow us at the links below.